Hey guys, another video from the Anti-Nerd here, and today I'm bringing Adam Warlock from the mini comic book wave of Marvel Legends made by Hasbro that comes with a little comic book. That's why fans are calling mini comic book wave. I also want to highlight some of the stuff I said in my previous video, the design, the lettering, making a throwback to the early Hasbro Marvel Legends after they took the license from Toy Biz. Also, I personally identify with Hasbro right now because they're clearly polishing a lot. Look at the design, the lettering specific for each character from each book that they come from. So I feel like they're mastering the game of including comic book action figures instead of movie ones. Because I don't know if you remember, but when Marvel Legends came back, from Hasbro, they used to tie the movie with the comic book figures, and now they're focusing on action figures based on the comics. So I think that sometimes when you do things in life, you polish, right? You make it better, and I think that they are trying to make it better. Of course, they're not including a Build-A-Figure, but they're giving us a beautiful packaging. That's the new style of them making like a signature into their Marvel Legends. So I think this figure, this wave is actually very important to the current Marvel Legends. I'm gonna be releasing all of the figures under my reviews except for Banshee, okay? So I already released Ultimate Iron Man, and then I'm dropping Adam Warlock. Tomorrow I'm dropping Daken, and then Miles Morales, and the last review I'm gonna drop is Rom, okay? So if you wanna pause it and read the description, it's right there. So let's take a look at this guy out of the packaging. As we can see, he doesn't come with a lot of stuff, but it's definitely a nice upgrade from the previous Adam Warlock that we've been getting. And I said I identify with Hasbro. I mean, I'm not as greedy as Hasbro, but I am trying to make it better and more efficient. And I think that with the not a Build-A-Figure inclusion and them trying to compensate that with their nice pickings and with their nice pickings of comic book characters and their packaging design, I think they're trying to polish their style, right? So let's take a look at this guy out of the packaging. Look at the beautiful artwork that we cannot see when he's inside the packaging. Really cool. I'm gonna show later my own comic book of the Infinite Gauntlet storyline. So as we can see here, as I said, he doesn't come with a lot of accessories. He comes with this glove of the Infinite Gauntlet, right? With the jewelry, the Infinite Stones. And then this spear right here, which is quite nice. And then just a set of extra hands, which would be the feasting hands. So the gripping hands are to hold either the spear or the mini comic book. As we can see, he's pinless, his cape is made of plastic, has some nice sculpting on the cape. It's quite big, the cape. And I personally think that the pinless technology really adds to the comic book characters because they look more comic book and they look more accurate. They look less like a toy, less like a doll, less like an action figure. But this one uses the Sunfire mode, of course, with a few updates. As we can see right here, there's the torso articulation, the ab crunch, but it definitely reminds me of the Superior Spider-Man because you're gonna see it's a little weird, but the head sculpt's quite nice. The hair is really well sculpted. The face has a nice expression, and I only think that the ab crunch right there, it's a little weird. They can skip that because I know there's some Sunfire modes that they don't crunch like that, so a little odd that they make it like that. That's one of my problems with the figure, but overall I think it looks nice. It looks accurate to the comics, and I want to show the comics in a bit to see if you guys agree with how faithful this action figure really is. So let's take a look at this accessory because it's clearly the one that stands out. It is the Infinite Stones that you can attach to him. First, I thought that you would remove not only his hand, but his part of the arm, like the Maximum Spider-Man. But no, you actually have to remove the hand and then you put this little gold piece over his arm, and then you put the hand with the Infinity Stones. And it does look way better than without it, because it adds a little more to the character, right? The difference of size, the feeling of power with the Adam Warlock. So Adam Warlock was created in 1967 by Stan Lee, and his first name was Him, and then he was changed to Adam Warlock in 1972, making a reference to the Adam from Adam and Eve, right? So let's take a look at Thanos, because Thanos is from the same storyline. He's from the Infinite Gauntlet. I have a video of him. You can check it out. This is the deluxe version. Of course, that doesn't make sense for them both to be holding the Infinite Stones. But anyways, they look really nice together. There's some vintage vibe to it. If you take a deep look at the packaging, it says right there that this Adam Warlock is from 91. It's from the Infinite Gauntlet storyline. So it's not the early him, Adam Warlock. It's actually the 91. Okay, so let's take a look at him with the Fantastic Four characters, because if I'm not mistaken, his first appearance as him in 1967 was in a Fantastic Four comic book. So I was able to get the Super Skrull ones. The only one I have with the old uniform, which would represent the 60s era, is Sue's Storm. But anyways, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video of me just showing the Fantastic Four, because they're about to announce the movie ones, and I'm very excited about the movie, right? The one that I have that's not from the Super Skrull is the Human Torch. He's retro, but since he's on fire, I guess there's no problem, right? And right here we can see Doctor Doom. This is from the Cabal. I made a video on that. He's also on the top 10 video. Check it out. I need to update that video because there's some new figures coming out, like the Maximum Spider-Man, that definitely would be in the updated top 10. But very cool. So now let's take a look at the comic book. Let's find out if he's really faithful to the source material, the 91 Infinite Gauntlet storyline. I was able to get this one for $2, only $2 on a flea market. Very good finding. I love the cover arts that they put on each chapter here as the cover from the individual issues, right? Very 90s, very 80s, this type of artwork, very colorful. Let me know in the comments what you think. What's your favorite decade of comic book style? I personally think that visually the 90s was very exciting, but the script of the 90s, especially the second half of the 90s, the writing was not as great as the artwork. I think the 2000s has a better writing to it, but the artwork from the 90s I think I would pick, although the 2000s more realistic. So let's take a look at Adam Warlock right here. Very faithful. It does look very much like the figure, right? The eyes, the hair, the tones of color, but the cape on the comic book looks more massive. I already said I prefer capes made with fabric, right? But they don't do that, so I don't know what's the deal. Maybe it's easier to make it plastic, but very faithful to this cover art. Very amazing. I think this is the cover art that they used on that blue artwork from the packaging, right? So very cool. I'm gonna give a grade 8 out of 10 to Adam Warlock. Why? Because I think the articulation could be better. They could have included that torso rotation that they put in a lot of Spider-Man. And also I think it lacks extra head with a more neutral expression, right? So he's always angry like that, which is fine. It's a nice head sculpt, but at this point, you know, we gotta be a little more demanding, right? With the details, what they can provide with $25. Because sometimes with $25 they give us a lot, sometimes they give us nothing. So very nice, the mini comic book, although it's more like a collectible that there isn't much use to the action figure, but it's nice that through the action figures you can actually know more about comic books and you can actually research. So I think this wave's really good. I would definitely get those characters because I don't think they're gonna redo the characters soon because they're really specific. Rom, this is the first time having an action figure with him. That's why he's probably the most sold in this collection. So there you go. That's my Adam Warlock action figure Marvel Legends review from the mini comic book wave. Keep in tune. I'm gonna release the other ones, and bye bye.